Euston Harris and Lee Briers. They are very, very confident that we'll do a good showing.
Well, before the game, it is, of course, Remembrance Sunday. Silence was observed throughout the nation today at 11 a.m. in memory of all those who have fallen, keeping our country safe over the years. So we will observe a minute's silence here before this game gets underway. And I'm sure also that the Welsh Rugby League would like us also to remember Dr. Phil Melling, a pioneer of the game in Wales who established the sport at the University of Swansea in the 1970s, because it's been announced overnight that Dr. Phil Melling has lost his long battle with cancer. So we remember the fallen, and we also remember Dr. Phil Melling for 1 minute here at the racecourse ground prior to the match between Wales and the Australian Kangaroos.
And the inaugural chairman of the Welsh Amateur Rugby League, who sadly passed away on Friday. Would you please join us for a minute's silence?
And the players, as you notice, they have the poppy embroidered onto their jerseys here ahead of this match. So we have the national anthems to come now. The choir, the Vron, will be accompanied by the Wrexham Brass Band. And after the national anthems, we will go to the commentary team of Terry O'Connor, Barry McDermott and Sean McRae. And the first voice you'll hear will be Bill Arthur right after the national anthems.
A stirring sound, the Welsh national anthem, and Wales will need that inspiration here this evening. Their first meeting with Australia in 8 years, and the last encounter, I hate to remind Welsh supporters, November 2003 was a then record 76-4 defeat. But they'll be looking to 2000 and the World Cup for inspiration. The semi-final at Huddersfield, when Clive Griffiths' side produced an inspired performance against Australia that led 20 points to 14 at half-time in that game. And Lee Briers, who bows out of International Rugby League tonight, was an inspiration on that night. Can he crown his Welsh career with another inspiring performance here tonight? It really is manning the barricades for Wales against the tournament favourites, Australia. Okay, minus several key players. Darren Lockyer up here near us, high in the stand, resting. And 3 debutants in, moving from Halifax to back to the Keighley Cougars for next season. Jones, and had a bit of a shaky time at times against the Kiwis last week, but recovered well in that game. Keir now not able to make much progress. 2 tackles gone. And Wales with Budworth, Lloyd White, Braycheck now.
4, move!
And the Australians
Keith Galloway, wait!
just getting a word in their ear from Phil Bentham about offside, as James tries to make progress. That's the 5th tackle, and it'll need to be a good kick from Briers, but again he's able to get it away. And again it's fielded at the back by Morris this time. Boyd who brings it away.
They can't just shepherd him though to the sideline. They've got to make sure that they get up and pressure him.
Here is Josh Morris. Last minute call up to the squad for Morris, the Canterbury Bulldogs player, after David Taylor pulled out. And now he finds himself playing in the final round-robin game of the series for Australia. And Thurston, little step, lovely step. He's got Smith in support, and Smith puts a tricky pass down, to be fair. Just forced to stretch for that Cameron Smith, who's captaining the side on his 27th international appearance this evening.
Well, that's a real shame for Australia. A sublime sidestep. Thurston with a one-handed offload, and you'd like to think that Smith would catch that ball. He's possibly looking at the support inside, and Danny Jones is in the eye line of the Australian captain.
Well, that's what Jonathan Thurston's looking at. He's looking at the big forwards who are defending round the ruck. As soon as they start moving sideways, he's got a step to burn.
It's Christian Wright, the South Wales Scorpions centre. He's had a good tournament as well. Lloyd White will be playing his rugby league for the Widnes Vikings next season. Several of the Crusaders players, of course, moving on to new clubs. Budworth, he'll be going back to Australia to continue his career with the Mackay Cutters. For once a Wigan Academy. Jordan James now. That's the 5th tackle, and again Wales struggling to get out of their own half, and again looking to Briers for the good kick, and again straight down the middle of the field, and Yao Yi runs it straight back. Oh, lovely step, just ghosted past the first challenge.
He's such an exciting player.
He's lost that.
I think he might have picked an injury up as well. The Brisbane Broncos winger has had an outstanding season, and he sidestepped his way through the defensive chase team of Wales. Look at this, lovely step, acceleration. Leaves Lloyd White for dead, and I think he might have picked an injury up there.
He's certainly, whether it's another shoulder problem,
or was it Craig Kopchak's leg?
Well, Kopchak did some damage against the Kiwis. Sam McKendry will testify to that.
Just looking at the trainer out with him, the physio, it looks more to be a shoulder, possibly even a neck problem there. So they're obviously going to take quite a lengthy period of time to make sure he's right. You can see how he falls. There's not much happened here, but it's just as he comes down, there looks like there's a collision with Craig Kopchak about now. And you can just see how that neck just gets a little sort of whiplash type injury. So we hope it's not serious for Jarrell Yao Yi.
Worrying for Tim Sheens, of course. Billy Slater already out of the tournament, and another of his really promising young players, just 21 years of age, Gerald Yao Yi, winning his second cap.
I'll try and call you if I can. Yeah.
Also too, Bill, there's a question mark over Willie Tonga. I don't know whether he's been ruled out of the series or not at this stage. There's been question marks, so there's real problems for the outside backs, and Coach Sheens couldn't afford to have another player missing.
Well, he's okay to carry on. The player with Torres Straits and Chinese ancestry, Gerald Yao Yi. And Wales have the ball back. And in the Australian half for the first time in some considerable time. Now it's with Chris Beasley. Former Celtic Crusader Beasley. Lloyd White finds Breers, and Breers again. Early kick, early chase, and an opportunity for Rhys Williams. And Williams might have got the first try of the game. The Warrington Flyer. Phil Benton goes to the video ref, but Rhys Williams is celebrating that. He's looking for offside from the kick from Lee Breers.
Well, it's a fabulous kick, a planned, set move. Lee Breers knows exactly where he wants to put that ball. He's onside for me, Bill. And Rhys Williams does a fabulous job. This is the first try.
Rhys Williams, has he got his 11th try in 12 internationals for Wales. I reckon it's going to be the nod from video ref Ben Thaler. What a start for the Welsh. They've soaked up some pressure at the other end of the field, but the Warrington Wolves winger Rhys Williams, who's surely got great things to come in the game, has got the first try of the night. We said Wales had to be creative, imaginative and inspired, and they have been just that. And Breers, in his final international, has come up with the goods and handing the try on a plate for Rhys Williams.
Well, we talk about the exceptional talent of this Australian side, but what about Lee Breers? He knows how strong they are defensively. He had a little look up and he saw that Yao Yi, who was the player who made the mistake, he still wasn't right, and he pulled up too far. He puts the kick in to absolute perfection, and look at the chase from Rhys Williams. That is a fantastic try.
Lee Breers needing 2 points for 100 for Wales, has pushed that just wide of the post just a moment ago, but that's lifted the crowd here, and Wales ahead by 4 points to 0. The try from Rhys Williams, 21 years of age, and he's had a prolific try-scoring time this season. 9 tries in 11 games for the Warrington Wolves this year, and now 11 tries in 12 appearances for Wales.
Yeah, an outstanding try, Bill. I mentioned when Lee Breers put that little cross kick over in inside his own 20 before, that they're going to be a surprise team here tonight. They're going to play unconventional rugby league. They know they can't defend Australia out of the game, so what they have to do is score points. And one way to score points is to play the unexpected. And Lee Breers, I've played 2, little kick in off a 2-pass play. Very well worked, well executed, tremendous play, and it's caught Australia on the back foot. An error from Gerald Yao Yi. Sometimes errors don't cost you, but very often they do.
Well, they might just have poked the hornet's nest, though, with that try from Rhys Williams. Here is Kopczak, who's played from the bench for Wales so far in this series, but has been so impressive that Iestyn Harris deciding it's worth giving him a go from the start, as Breers again puts the kick in deep, and it's fielded by Darius Boyd straight down his throat this time.
And that was interesting, Bill. All the back 3 players from Australia, Boyd, Morris and Yao Yi, all 3 of them back, expecting some kind of cheeky, off-the-cuff kick. But just a couple of hours ago, down the road, the under-18s Welsh team beat the England Community Lions 29 points to 28, and Iestyn Harris and Mark Rowley at the bottom of the screen will know that there's some fabulous players coming through. Ollie Olds, Rodri Lloyd and Jack Pring, 3 players to watch out for in the Welsh colours.
Well, the hero of that victory was Jack Malloy of the London Broncos, who came up with a late try, which was goal by Courtney Davis to give Wales that victory. England had led 21-6 in that game. And Cooper Cronk caught under pressure. Wales have it back with Christian Wright. They don't need to do anything flash here.
They're the little efforts that Iestyn Harris is looking for, that extra effort, making sure that you put pressure on the opposition when it's going to be the kick.
Tim Sheen's looking a little bit exasperated there. This wasn't supposed to be the script.
Well, there's two plays in that set of 6 that were poorly executed. No communication whatsoever. A clear case that the Australians at the moment haven't quite got their focus right. Their minds aren't really on this job. I think they think it was just a matter of turning up and going through the motions. They got a little shock here.
One or two minds might still be in Berlin by all accounts. Here's Breers with a little half break, and Breers still going. Breers gets it away to Jones. Jones for Keir for the tie. And Keir does a second Welsh try. Elliot Keir puts Wales further ahead. His second of this tournament. And Wales, just as they did in 2000 in the World Cup, have shocked the Kangaroos. They lead by 8 points to 0. Unbelievable. Not if you're a true Welsh supporter. They went into this game massive underdogs, but they have stunned Australia with this start.
Well, Wales are forcing Australia into making an awful lot of mistakes, and that was a terrible pass from dummy half. But look at the effort there from Craig Kopchak, who's probably been Wales' best in this tournament. They're making sure that they play every single play, and Lee Breers, he pulls the Australian defenders out to the line. And what about that for the ball from Danny Jones? And the step off his right foot from the very impressive Elliot Keir goes in for the second try.
2 tries in 13 minutes for the Welsh. They only managed 1 in the previous 2 games. And Breers, can he get the 100 for Wales now with this conversion to join Jim Sullivan? Oh, and Iestyn Harris, he's pushed it just wide. He's going to have to wait a little bit longer for that 100. The words from Damien Gibson, who's off the bench there for Wales, and words from Tim Sheens as well.
Well, I'm sure Tim Sheens prepared his Australian side for a tough game. But it doesn't matter. Whenever you get in a context, you're expected to win. You need to step up to the table. And that's a fabulous finish from a very good winger.
Former Cardiff Demons player Elliot Keir produced a lot of players who've gone on to play higher levels of rugby league with the Cardiff Demons. Beasley.
Anthony. 4. Move. Too quick, mate. You've got to hold.
8-0. Wales leads. Apologies for the absence of 1 or 2 graphics at the moment. But Wales are ahead, be sure of that, as Breers again gets the kick away. And Boyd lets that one bounce over his head, and it's a good chase from Wales, and Boyd will look to bring it back, and it's a well tackled by Webster. Webster's got to watch his step, though, as he clings on, maybe for a second too long. Here is Josh Morris now.
Well, they look like they're hunting as a pack, this Welsh side, but the worrying thing for Tim Sheens, that a number of times when they're going in to tackle the Wales players, they're getting left on the floor. They're not even getting set at marker, and that'll be very disappointing for the coach.
Galloway gets to his feet to play the ball. Here's Cameron Smith, and Smith. But again, good defence from the Welsh on the halfway line. Lloyd White it was making the tackle. And now with the Shillington. That's the 5th tackle. Australia won't be panicking. Long way to go in this game as Cronk hoists that one. And Danny Jones now. Under pressure, but kept his eye on the ball despite the advancing Yao Yi.
Oh, that's a brave take. He heard the footsteps of the Australian chaser and got one from his corner. And the Australian side, in their hurry and haste to get off the line, and giving a penalty away. And that's a relief for the Welsh team, because I'm sure they've identified in the week that if the Australian teams are putting pressure on them, on their line, then it's going to be a tough day for them. And they need to play a territorial game, and Greg Inglis has just given that meters and all those meters to the Welsh team.
Well, we just saw Greg Inglis fly out of the line because the Australian team were lazy. That kick went in there, it hung there for about 4 seconds, and there were still players walking behind when the Welsh player played. I think Danny Jones played the ball, and Greg Inglis had no choice but to put pressure on Elliot Keir, and he really did have to give that penalty away. Otherwise, there was a whole heap of space on the Welsh right-hand side.
Beasley tackled just inside the Australian 40. Budworth.
3. Move. Hold. Go on, 3.
White again, they're kicking early, again they're chasing, and Boyd taking his time. It's a good chase from the Welsh, led by Christian Wright. And they'll get the ball back from the goal line dropout. The Welsh kicking game has been spot on.
Oh, it's been outstanding so far, Bill, and you can see the pressure there. There's a difference. It's an attitude thing. You're on the front foot, you're kicking, there's plenty of chase. Let's put the Australians under pressure. Iestyn Harris, coaching staff, will be absolutely delighted.
Stay on. Okay.
Goal line dropout then from the Australians. And Dudson is on the field. Gil Dudson winning his 12th cap.
Move! Back up! Hold! Go!
Former Newport Gwent Dragon, who came to league quite late in his career, but it's turned out well for him. He'll be a Wigan Warrior next season, Gil Dudson. Kopczak now, and that's a good drive from Kopczak, and Wales are right in front of those posts now. What will Breers come up with this time? Short ball this time from Breers, finds Ben Flower, and Flower tackled just short of the try line. 4 tackles gone. Australia right on their own try line. Well, they should have been, they're not. Oh, the ball's gone to ground. Wales have got it back. Jones puts the kick in. Wrights will chase it, and they'll get the ball back again.
Well, pressure from Wales. Ball, very good drives from the forwards, really took it to the heart of the Australian side. And Danny Jones, another clever kick, and Royce just couldn't get that ball. Yao Yi not taking any chances whatsoever, knocking that ball dead.
I'll bet Steve McNamara is watching this game, making plenty of notes about this, because it's a really excellent tactic from Iestyn Harris and the coaching staff to continually turn Australia around, because Australia, they love to get off the line, they move up quick, and they like to put you under pressure. You keep turning them around, and it just makes them a little bit nervous, and it makes them a bit indecisive.
Iestyn Harris has had an impressive start to his, well, it's not, he's been in the position for a while now, but Wales have improved, they've grown, and they might still be the underdogs in these situations, but they've got a bit of a bite, as they've shown here this evening, and they continue to show. Play on, says the referee. Tackle wasn't completed. Breers will kick again. Keir will chase again. This time it's just too strong, or is it? The referee says the ball was still in play, and Thurston will bring it away. Very nearly another inspired moment for Wales.
Well, Wales just aren't giving up on anything, Bill, and their attitude to go right to the wire until that ball is absolutely dead. It's just catching the Australians off guard. At some point, Australia are going to kick into gear, and they're going to start some momentum, get some field position, and build their own pressure. But Elliot Keir, again, his foot was off the island, to be fair, but great attitude from the Welsh team.
And it's got Australia thinking again. Maybe they've got to be watchful in defence when Breers has the ball. They just don't know what's coming at them now.
Well, that might be an important substitution there. Paul Gallen, for me, one of the best forwards in the world, brought into this team late because of a withdrawal from Luke Lewis. And he's been given a jumper. He may well be given the job of carrying his team forward. Darius Boyd just
check for the 40, please, Ben.
Gets a kick away. Is it a 40-20?
It's not. I think he was outside his 40, as Ben Thaler, I think, will confirm. That's well outside.
What's that? Yeah. I was going to penalise him for holding it. You've got to release the man. You're holding the man in the trap.
Phil Bentham just, meanwhile, having a word with Paul Gallen, who was holding Craig Kopczak down in the tackle. Right. Australia were appealing for a penalty at that time. Wales have head and feet at the scrum, and that could be a penalty for the scrum infringement. The Australians striking at it.
Well, he's given the penalty for Paul Gallen, who's the prop forward, striking for the ball. That's what the penalty's for. Again, good yards.
Replacement for Wales.
From this one side, there he goes. There's Paul Gallen. He struck out with that ball.
Well, you are allowed to strike for it, but once it's in the scrum, you can't strike it when it's in Lee Breers' hand.
Wales, with things going their way here, and they're taking the most of it. 8-0 they lead. 2 fantastic tries from them.
Got in there.
2 tackles gone, and Australia backtracking again. They had the early pressure, they had that early chance when Cameron Smith put the ball down, but since then Wales have come back strongly. Here is Ben Flower. Australia again back on their own try line, defending this. Budworth. Here's Braychek. Can't make any forward grounds.
On the line, lads. 4.
Hasn't played a lot of rugby league this year, Braychek, because of injury. Flower driving it in strongly and was almost able to offload it then on the last. And what will Breas come up with this time? Has he got time to get the kick away? He does, but it's well fielded by Thurston this time, straight into his midriff.
But yeah, again, Wales are making decent meters when they have the ball, and their effort after collision, Lee Breas putting a little kick in, trying to set one of his outside backs free, even looking to put a big shot on.
I don't think Lee Breas, the longer this game goes on, I don't think he's had as much time as he has had in the opening 22 minutes. I think Tim Sheens will get the message on. Take the time away from Lee Breas. Don't give him time to think.
Gil Dudson rather is penalised for that infringement, holding down.
This is exactly what they can't do. They know that they need to contain the Australians, and Cameron Smith at the back, he's looking up, he's looking to exploit any weakness in the Welsh defensive line, but Gil Dudson just too long in that tackle.
Quarter of the game gone. If you're just joining us, yes, that scoreline is right. Wales lead 8 points to 0 here against Australia, the Four Nations favourites, who play England next Saturday in the final at Ellen Road, a game, of course, you can see on Sky Sports. But it has been an inspired opening quarter from this Welsh side.
And hold. Goal 2.
Now they've got some defending to do. As Gallen comes motoring up the middle, and look for some support there. There was nobody really on the same wavelength. Penalty goes to Australia. Wales desperately trying to slow things down there. It was Ben Flower, the culprit.
Well, that's Paul Gallen at his best. Strong, hard charges and quick play the ball. And he'll do that relentlessly all day.
Corey Parker now tackled 11 metres or so out. Cameron Smith. Smith's short ball, and Wales there in numbers to make the tackle on Beau Scott. Beau Scott, another of the debutants. Cronk, a little dummy from him, and again Wales just managed to shut the door in time. Good work so far. 4 tackles gone. Can Wales hold out again? Smith will go on his own. And the referee says, I'm not certain. Let's have a look. Is he on the whitewash?
Just to check if there was a knock-on.
I think he's short, though. When I first watched it, I thought he was short. I thought there was danger when the goal line defence of Wales, everybody was stood up really tall. You need to have a low body angle, and they just get down too late. I think it's Budworth is too late. That's short for me.
Video ref is Ben Thaler.
Well, he gives himself a chance, Cameron Smith, because the angle that he goes into this. And does Budworth do enough here?
That's on the line.
That looks like it's on the line.
I think that's the angle that gives it, Bill. I think it's a try.
Cameron Smith, captaining Australia this evening in his 27th international, gets their first try of the night, greeted with howls of complaint from the Welsh supporters, who thought that he'd come up short there. A kick to come. But his sixth try, I beg your pardon, for Australia from the Melbourne Storm stalwarts.
Well, whenever you play against Cameron Smith, you know you've got to switch on, especially when you're near the try line. Just have a look at his body angle when he goes in. He gives himself that chance because he gets underneath the Welsh defenders, and Budworth can't do anything, and Lloyd White to prevent him from crossing that line and scoring Australia's opening try.
Deputising for Darren Lockyer tonight, Cameron Smith. He's never lost as captain of Australia. 5th time he's captained them tonight as Thurston. A formality for him. And Australia have points on the board. 8-6 the scoreline now in favour of Wales. And a trademark try from Cameron Smith.
Well, it came off the back of a penalty and they gave Australia field position, and they were able to roll forward down the field, and Cameron Smith was able to just dig his way under some defenders from Wales who really should have been a lot lower there. They could have protected that a bit better, but Cameron Smith's a terrific reader of play, very instinctive player, very smart player, and took his try very well indeed.
Well, as that got Australia's blood pumping now. Little tete-a-tete there. Beau Scott not liking that. And touch judge, I think, is just stepping in to calm things down.
Well, Beau Scott is a very aggressive player. Of course, plays for St George over in Australia. Catches this ball. Maybe thinks he gets a bit of attention that he doesn't like. And stands up. I can't quite see where the problem is.
Yeah. A bit frustration in the Australian camp from Beau Scott. Lloyd White involved.
No, as you've dropped the man there, you've put undue pressure on the back of the neck. You've got to be really careful with that. It's going to be a penalty, Lee. It's a penalty.
Well, Phil Bentham and the touch judge have seen something there that they decide is an infringement. And Wales penalised.
Well, it's effectively a grapple tackle, isn't it? He's put pressure on the neck and he's maintained that pressure, and that's what Beau Scott was complaining about. I'm not 100% sure a player should be getting up and taking the law into his own hands there, but he's been able to get a penalty for the Australian team. The penalty was warranted, it was just missed by the officials in the first place.
Hold, go.
So it's a penalty again for Australia. They made good use of the last one, but Dodson with a big hit there. That was out of the Kopjak book of hits.
Another one, Bill.
Matt Scott is able to offload that. It's Gallen who'll pick it up eventually. He's supposed to be having the weekend off for Paul Gallen.
Well, I like the reaction when the penalty was given. Lee Briers, the experienced halfback, turned round and said, "OK, sir." He must have looked at his forwards now and said, "Come on, let's man up. Don't give them any metres and be nice and strong in defence."
Smith going down the short side. Little kick comes in, but well dealt with by Rhys Williams. And Williams, though, driven back over his own line, has lost that ball in the tackle, but there were about 3 Australian players in there. So did they steal the ball?
Is it just a clean drop by Rhys Williams? He was under pressure. There was 3 Australians that had him in the field of play. They then push him over the line. You can see Cooper Cronk. Yeah, Yao Yi strips that ball from Rhys Williams.
That's a good result for Wales if they get the penalty.
Yeah. Well, they need this. They don't want to be trapped in the corner, and they do everything right. Cooper Cronk coming in. That was a very good shot, but you can see Yao Yi. He gets underneath Williams, and he just manages to grip the ball out of his grasp. It's not a 2-on-1, it's a 3-on-1.
I mean, it's easy to criticise Rhys Williams. He actually does all the hard work when he gets rid of Chris Lawrence, but keeps upright and allows those Australian defenders to push him back. But I'm confident, and with you lads, I think this is a penalty to Wales, although they're having a good hard look at it.
Well, here's another one. Is it a loose carry as well, Sean?
Well, Cooper Cronk has actually moved the arm of Rhys Williams. That's the question mark. I think that's what they're looking at. I think it's got to be a penalty, no try.
Ben Thaler's had a long look at that, a bit too long for Welsh minds. He's come to the right decision as far as the Red Dragon are concerned. Yao Yi penalised. He might feel that that ball squirted out of Rhys Williams' grasp, and it was an instinctive reaction, really, to go for it.
Well, they've got to make sure that he's got more control on that ball, because that could have gone the way to the Australian side. But that's a relieving penalty over in the Australian half now, and they need to do exactly what they've done for the opening 27 minutes to get in front on the scoreboard. They don't need to change the way they play.
Here's Ross Devorty. He's had a big season with Featherstone, but he'll be at Halifax next year. Will Devorty, big move for him. Carl Harrison recruits strongly for his new club. Devorty among the signings. Could be an interesting year for Halifax. Well, it always is an interesting year at Halifax, one way or another.
Wait. Goal 4.
Budworth. Here is Briers now. Briers back on the inside to Dodson.
5. All back.
That's the 5th.
Hold, goal 5.
Now then, what will the boot of Briers come up with this time? Still manages to put the kick in, and it's an interesting one. Angled across the field. They've lost the ball. It's still loose. It could be a try for Wales. It's Devorty. Devorty might have got the try here. All sorts going on there. But a Wales come up with another one.
I'm going to check a knock
from Briers again, causing chaos at the back for Australia.
Off the post at the end, so you need to check that right
Phil
at the end.
Bentham asking Ben Thaler to look at about half a dozen things there.
Well, he wasn't going to kick early in the tackle count. He got to the last tackle, and just watch this banana kick. He kicks it to the left.
They're offside.
Are they offside there?
It'll be a shame because I think they are offside, Tez, but Andrew Johns, a great friend of Lee Briers, was a perfectionist at this play. There's a good view in front of Lee Briers as he puts that kick in. But what encouraging signs then. Everything's a contest to Wales.
Well, do you know when they do kick the ball and they are offside, but is the player, that player who goes for the ball, who jumps, he stood behind the kicker.
That's Danny Jones, who's come from a long way back.
Well, Danny Jones, he's standing behind the kicker. And was it Ross Devorty that's in front? Because it doesn't matter, if you stood in front of the kicker, that's fine now, but you've got to make sure that you stay within 10 metres of when the Australian player catches the ball. Well, for me, Jones, he's onside, and I've got no problem with Danny Jones.
Does he knock it on?
Well, Ben Thaler hasn't even bothered to look at the grounding. He's disallowed that one.
It was Ross Devorty.
Offside. They were within the 10 at that crucial moment when Jones went up for the ball.
We saw something similar last night, didn't we, at the game at the KC Stadium, very early on when New Zealand had an opportunity and they were in front of, again, Sam Tompkins sort of didn't actually play at the ball as well as he would have liked. Similar type thing here. Chris Lawrence goes up to catch the ball, but the player is in front of the kicker, so he has to be ruled offside.
But you know what, isn't that a shame? Because if Ross Devorty was a couple of metres behind, he was the try scorer as well.
That wouldn't have been the end of it if he'd been offside. There was umpteen knock-ons, potentially. How the ball came to end up in Devorty's hands, but coming up to the half-hour mark, and Wales still leading by 8 points to 6, but Australia surviving. Didn't think we'd be saying that tonight, as they get the ball wide to Morris, and Morris trying to step back in field. Wales managing to stop his progress, hoping to get him towards the sidelines. 4 tackles gone. Thurston now driving it in with Matt Scott. That's good defence from the Welsh. Stopped him in his tracks, did Dudson. Scott felt that. Stray pass on the last. The ball is back with Darius Boyd. Cronk now, and Cronk hoists this one. Keir will be underneath it. He's got Thaiday bearing down on him, and Morris, and he takes it well.
Well, that's the second time on the last play. The two Melbourne players have been slightly confused. Cameron Smith and Cooper Cronk play together regularly, and that pass is too far in front for Cooper Cronk to get a decent catch on it and get the kick away. Wales under pressure in their own 20 metre zone.
Third, move, hold.
Just a moment of concern from the Australians there. They tackled Chris Beasley, I think it was, and sportingly, hands went up. I think they were thinking that Beasley had taken a knock, but he's okay to carry on as Keir fancies a run, but he's stopped in his tracks by the tackle from Beau Scott. The St George Illawarra player making his Australian debut this evening. The kick is not a good one, and Thurston is right underneath that. The referee saying give him 10 and then play on, and Thurston losing his footing. It's a murky, damp evening here in Wrexham.
He'll be disappointed with that kick, Lee Briers. I'm sure he would have gone for distance. He just put it up, and again, you can't invite this Australian side into your half. And here they give a penalty away.
Going back to Lee Briers' kick there, Tez, I think they're taking the time away from him. Australia are getting off the line and making Lee Briers rush and hurry into his kick selection.
Here goes Corey Parker, so that penalty has given Australia a great platform here, looking to go in front for the first time tonight, but they've had to wait half an hour to get there. Thaiday, typical bustling run from Sam Thaiday coming off the bench. Here's Thurston now, straight up the middle with Gallen. 3 tackles gone. Can Wales survive here? Intercept from Briers. Briers won't have the legs, but that's got Wales off the hook, and he read that one so well. Looking for the penalty, the crowd demanding it, Briers demanding it, and Wales have got the ball back. Play on, says the referee. It's back to 6. There was an Aussie hand in there.
Well, Wales needed this because Lee Briers knew that they were a man short. Aled James really struggling in backfield, trying to get up off the floor. He's fallen back down, but Lee Briers, that's what you want from your captain. That is what you want from your leader.
Well, they are gambles, them plays, Tez, and Lee Briers 10, 8, maybe 6 years ago might have finished that off, but The old legs wouldn't carry him. He got 20 metres and was grateful for them.
Hold. Go.
Aled James is just on his own in-goal area at the moment, getting treatments into the side this evening because of the absence of a couple of injured players. Tyson Frizzell not being able to play this evening, so James got the call, but he hasn't lasted very long. Breers drills the kick into the corner, and Wales just inching their way towards half-time, and an improbable 8-6 lead. Long way to go yet.
But that again is another play where you just kick it into touch. You get your composure at the scrum. You make sure you go to the scrum, you're talking to each other, know exactly what you want to do. And just look at Lee Brazier, the way that he reads the game. He gets on the inside of Sam Fireday. That money ball was going to Sam Fireday.
Come on, Andy.
But Lee Brazier had second thoughts on that.
Well, what they've done very well, Wales, is they've controlled the ball when they've had it. They've got pretty good field position. They've finished off with excellent kicks. So they're playing a game that actually suits them. They're starving Australia of possession, and they're making Australia work off their own line. So they're doing everything right and defending an 8-6 lead, and they've thoroughly deserved that.
Breers down low to stop GI in his tracks. Inglis, here's Thaiday, takes some stopping in his tracks. But Jordan James is up to the challenge.
Well, you talked about that bad defeat by Wales in 2003, 76 points to 4, and Jordan James, the number 8 for Wales today, was actually involved in that game. He'd be having a lot of fun and enjoying himself today.
High kick. Jones, time underneath it, and he takes it well. Wales have the nasty memories of their last international in Wrexham. Unbelievably, they lost here to Italy, 13 points to 6. Here they are, leading Australia, 8 points to 6, coming up to half-time. That was an experimental Welsh side that night from Iestyn Harris. This is a very experienced Welsh team who've got better as this series has gone on.
Go.
They don't even look nervous. The little twos play that they're coming up with in their own 20. And let's not forget, they were very good in the second half against the Kiwis, but in the first half when they played England, they were also very good.
40-20 from Breers, but it's not one of his best. And it's Boyd who brings it back, and mustn't upset the Italians and Paul Broadbent, their technical advisor, because they, of course, are going to the 2013 World Cup. They and Italy having qualified this autumn.
Release.
And Australia with Sam Thaiday now, and Thaiday on his own.
Move. Wait.
Coming up to the last 5 minutes of this first half here. Thurston. Dale Cherry Evans is on the field to make his debut. That's a great kick, and Yaoye can't get there. Wales just managing to stifle the threat. A knock on from somebody there, says Phil Bentham. And it's Australia's head and field. Well, they stopped Yaoye getting to the ball, but I think it's Rhys Williams.
Oh, I don't know.
No, well, that's play on anyway. It goes backwards.
Still going backwards.
I think there might have been a little knock on there from the Australian. Jaral Yaoye.
We need one more, Wales. Then you go, Andy.
He touches that.
That could be a crucial decision from the referee this evening, Phil Bentham, and his sideline officials, because seemed to be a knock on there from Jaral Yaoye, as it is. Thurston has lost the ball with the line at his mercy. And Tim Sheen's little purse of the lips, little grimace.
Well, Danny Jones just had a little tug at this ball there. Jonathan Thurston, he dummies the ball, and I think Watson who falls for it. But Jonathan Thurston just loses that ball. And this Welsh side, they are not giving up in this game.
Hold. Go.
Here is Jordan James, will be playing his Super League for Salford City Reds at their new stadium next season. Remember, his Four Nations series started with an almighty clatter from Ben Westwood, but he's come back well.
To be fair, Billy might not remember much about that game. It was a good shot from Ben Westwood, but I thought he showed tremendous character last week. And the second half by all the Welsh team was very creditable.
Breers again managing to get into position to put the kick in, but it ricochets off an Australian. It wasn't played at, and it'll be Australia's head and feed, says the referee.
Well, you can see there that it was that Daly Cherry Evans has really not played at that ball, and Lee Breers probably his, his second worst kick for the night. I think the worst one was when Jonathan Thurston picked up a nice little catch in the slips. But he has been very good. He would have loved to have drilled that ball down into the corner, got Wales to chase and make Australia come off their line. But as it turns out, giving up field position on about the 33-metre line.
Okay. Well, Mark Rowley, who you saw in the picture there at the bottom of the shot, the Welsh team manager, he's had a big weekend already. His son got married in South Wales yesterday. That was some party. Imagine what it'll be like if he's got another celebration this evening. That's a long way ahead. But Wales are ahead by 8 points to 6 here. Cameron Smith straight up the middle. That lead might not last long here. He's got the support. The pass was forward, say the Welsh supporters, but Cooper Cronk was there in support under the post, and Australia, with half-time approaching, finally get their noses in front. Cooper Cronk's second try in Australian colours, and a Melbourne Storm combination there. Cameron Smith and his teammate linking up, and normal service is on its way to being resumed here.
Well, I'm sure this is the response that Australian coach Tim Sheens will want just before half-time. And he's an exceptional player, Cameron Smith. And you know that if they break the line, there is always going to be support play from the inside and the outside. You can see he just tucks that ball under his arm. He draws the fullback, Danny Jones. He looks inside, and Cooper Cronk, they go in at half-time in the lead. But it's been a very determined 40 minutes from Wales, but they just couldn't get back and prevent this try. Good play from the Australian side.
Groan from the crowd there as they saw that pass in the screen, but Thurston has thumped that one home, and Australia ahead by 12 points to 8, having trailed 8-0 to this Welsh side. And Thurston with the conversion, and well, it's going to take a bit more than that to please Tim Sheens, I suspect.
Well, I'm sure Tim Sheens, as I said, right at the start of the game, he was preparing for a nice tight contest. He knows the Welsh in Wales will be a tough proposition, but Cooper Cronk's try, that will do his confidence the world of good. Of course, coming off the bench for 5 of his international caps for Australia, and he gets the start tonight.
Cooper Cronk, who of course got a bonk on the conch early on in this series, but seems to have been straightened out. But in the final minute of the first 40, few would have expected that scoreline. 8-0 was improbable.
Sean, if you're Tim Sheens at half-time, what do you actually say to the side?
I think you just talk about attitude. That's what it is. It's attitude. You could tell from the start. What Tim's had to do, he's had to bring Matt Scott and Paul Gallen on, and I believe well before he wanted to, as the little raid goes up the short side with the Australian side. I think he wanted to play Keith Galloway and David Shillings for a lengthy period of time, and he's had to replace those guys, and I think Paul Gallen and Matt Scott have actually instilled a lot more attitude into this Australian side.
Will you use the word enthusiasm, Sean?
I think it goes, it's very similar for me.
And Australia could have more points to come before the break. They have, and Cooper Cronk gets back-to-back tries right on the whistle at the end of this first half. And Wales maybe have just switched off, and Australia have done what they do so often. They don't switch off. They keep going until the hooter sounds, and Cooper Cronk backing up that earlier try with this effort, again in support.
Well, you know that Australia are going to create chances for themselves. And what about the angle of that run from Greg Inglis when he comes back against the grain, and he's such a big man. He gets through that gap, and again, it's just that short little double pump off Jonathan Thurston that pulls a Welsh player out to the line. And I'll be disappointed with the coach, Iestyn Harris, who were in control for the majority of this first half. Unfortunately, now behind on the scoreboard.
And Australia all head for the dressing rooms, feeling a lot happier with life. Still a little bit embarrassed, I would have thought, the way they've been made to sweat in this first half by a determined Welsh side. Maybe the Welsh guilty of just losing a little bit of concentration. But Thurston should extend the advantage here with this conversion. Australia with 2 more points on the board, lead by 18 points to 8. That's more like it as far as their supporters are concerned, but they have been made to feel very uncomfortable at times in that first 40 minutes, and Wales, who were so close to going into the break with at least an 8-6 advantage, just paying the price and allowing Australia to get a grip on the game at half-time.
Well, for 37.5 minutes, the impossible dream was alive, and the Welsh, they played absolutely out of their